People have called him the most prolific mathematician in history, a total genius whose ideas, cooked up way back in the 18th century, still run our modern world. Today, we're going to dive into the life and work of the one and only Leonhard Euler.
And it all kind of starts with this right here. This is Euler's identity. It's often called the most beautiful equation in all of mathematics, and for good reason. It grabs 5 of the most fundamental constants in the universe. I'm talking numbers that have no business even knowing each other, and links them all together in this one perfect, simple statement. It's elegant, it's mysterious, and honestly, it feels a little bit like magic.
So, what does this even mean? How is this possible? And maybe more importantly, who is the absolute genius behind it? To figure that out, we've got to travel back to the 18th century and meet the man who pretty much wrote the language of modern mathematics.
And that man was Leonhard Euler. Born in Switzerland in 1707, he was a mathematician, a physicist, an astronomer, a geographer, a logician, and an engineer. I mean, this guy was the real deal, a true rock star of the Enlightenment.
His life was basically a grand tour of Europe's greatest intellectual hotspots. Get this, he started university in Switzerland when he was just 13 years old. From there, he bounced between top-tier academies in St. Petersburg and Berlin, working for rulers like Frederick the Great and Catherine the Great. He was a true European scholar, just chasing ideas and problems all across the continent. But it wasn't just his physical location that was all over the map. The scope of his mind? Well, it was just astronomical. He worked in pretty much every area of math and science you can think of, and his discoveries were both incredibly fundamental and unbelievably wide-ranging. You know, when you do math today, you're literally speaking his language. That symbol for a function, f of x, that was Euler. The constants e and I, yep, Euler again. The popularization of pi, you guessed it. He didn't just solve problems, he created the very symbols we use to talk about them. It is so hard to overstate how important that is. He gave mathematicians a common language to build on each other's work.
But his genius wasn't just locked away in some ivory tower, oh no. He loved a good real-world puzzle. Take the 7 bridges of Königsberg. So this city was built on a river, and its different parts were all connected by 7 bridges. The brain teaser that had everyone stumped was simple. Could anyone take a walk and cross every single bridge exactly one time? It seemed impossible, but nobody could figure out how to prove it.
Well, Euler came along and proved it was in fact impossible. But the genius wasn't just the answer, it was how he got there. He stripped away all the unnecessary details, the geography, the distances, and realized the only thing that mattered were the landmasses and the bridges connecting them. Just dots and lines. This was a revolutionary idea, shifting from thinking about numbers to thinking about relationships. And just like that, by solving a local puzzle, he invented a whole new field of mathematics, graph theory. And today, that idea is the foundation of our entire digital world. We're talking Google Maps, your social network. It all started with a guy thinking about some bridges.
So this ability to see connections everywhere, well, it led to a level of productivity that is frankly just mind-bending.
Okay, get ready for this. Over his lifetime, Euler published 866 books and articles. No, that's not a typo. 866. His collected works fill over 80 huge volumes.
And this wasn't just, a few good years. The guy was a machine. He maintained a pace of about 800 pages of brand new research every single year of his career. And if you think that's wild, listen to this. In the year 1775, and remember, he's 68 years old at this point, he was pumping out, on average, 1 new mathematical paper every single week.
Now, here's the part of the story that just seems impossible. What makes this relentless output even more unbelievable is the adversity he was facing. He lost most of the sight in one eye in his early 30s. By his 60s, he was almost completely blind. But did his work slow down? No way. In fact, with scribes writing down the calculations he was doing entirely in his head, his productivity actually increased. And his own reaction to losing his sight? Well, it tells you everything you need to know about his incredible focus. He reportedly said, "Now I will have fewer distractions." He just kept going, composing some of the most complex mathematics ever conceived entirely in his mind.
So it's really no surprise then, is it? His contemporaries, the other geniuses of the time, they just looked at him with complete and total awe. They saw him as the master, someone who just set a completely new standard for what was possible. His legacy wasn't just what he found, but how he inspired everyone who came after him.
The great mathematician Pierre-Simon Laplace, what did he tell his students? His advice was simple. Read Euler, he is the master of us all. For generations of mathematicians, there was simply no higher authority.
And it wasn't just him. Even Carl Friedrich Gauss, another contender for the greatest mathematician of all time, insisted that studying Euler's work was the best school for anyone serious about math, saying that nothing else can replace it.
On September 18, 1783, after casually discussing the orbit of the newly discovered planet Uranus, Euler suffered a brain hemorrhage and died. The eulogy delivered for him at the French Academy by the Marquis de Condorcet might have said it best. He ceased to calculate and to live. For Euler, the two things were one and the same.
When you boil it all down, Euler's ultimate genius was seeing connections others missed. Between a kid's puzzle and a new branch of science, between abstract symbols and the very fabric of the universe. And his story really leaves us with a question, doesn't it? In our own crazy, complex world, what simple, fundamental connections are we all overlooking right now?